Picking a fight with your best player over a coat. Practicing in the snow when you play indoors. Pinstriping your pants for style and also to assault the senses. Speaking of assaulting the senses, Isola, Blackistone, Kalisha, Page, let's go.
Yeah, that's why the Yankees win. It's the pinstripes.
Seahawks 27, Packers 24. The third down fail from Rodgers and the fourth down decision to punt from Mike McCarthy. We'll start there. Packers never saw the ball again. Woody Page, are you seeing a team that's just not good enough? Are you seeing Rodgers not being Rodgers enough? Or are you seeing that it's Mike McCarthy just not being enough anymore?
I'm seeing a dead coach walking. McCarthy's going to be gone at the end of the year if they don't make the playoffs. He was responsible totally for that loss last night. He doesn't ask for a replay, keeping that timeout in his pocket for no reason at all when they had him buried deep. The Seahawks were not going to get out of, on third down, we're not going to get out of trouble at the end of the, you're going to get great field position and you can take the additional lead there. And he doesn't even check the replay. He would have seen that it was overturned. That's number one. Number two, you got we've been talking about for weeks, you got the best quarterback in all of football, and you can't get 2 yards. You don't have a play on your sheet that gets you 2 yards, and so you punt it away. It's McCarthy.
Tim Kalisha, how about you?
Well, I think it starts with McCarthy, and Woody's right. Normally 4th and 2, over 4 minutes to go, you're going to punt it there. But if you've got Rodgers at quarterback and you got a defense that just got pushed around by Seattle, and you know Russell Wilson can scramble, can run around in for a first down, and you're down to one timeout, you better go for it. Now, they did a lot of things wrong throughout the game, and even in the course of a 330-yard game, Aaron Rodgers made mistakes. That last drive, we expect him to march down the field. He throws 2 out of 3 incompletions, given he's throwing to rookie receivers drafted in the 5th and 6th round. But that last pass was a bad one, but he should have got another opportunity.
Blackistone.
4th down.
You know, a few weeks ago, we had Ty Montgomery undermine Rodgers, and this time we had his own coach undermine Rodgers with McCarthy on this call. Now, it's interesting. About 10 years ago, we crucified Bill Belichick for making a similar decision, which blew up in his face, and they lost the game to Peyton Manning.
Speak for yourself, Kimasabi. I'm all for going for it on 4th down, no matter really.
I was going to say, well, this is a different NFL now. You got to put up points, and as Tim just pointed out, that was a defense that got shoved down the field. Woody asked, why don't they have a play that can get them 2 yards? They did have a play, and unfortunately it was on 3rd down, and Aaron Rodgers inexplicably grounded the ball into the turf. But still, in that situation, you got to try it again. You got to move the chains and get that ball downfield. Why they didn't, I don't know.
Kevin and Tony, I'm glad both of you mentioned the 3rd down play by Rodgers. If Tom Brady had thrown that pass, we'd have to write books about the fact that maybe Tom Brady's getting too old and can't complete that pass. So number one, it falls on Rodgers for not completing the pass. But here's my point about Mike McCarthy. Either way, if you're going to punt the ball, you have to stop them. So why not go for it on 4th down? Because if you don't get it, you still have to stop them to get the ball back. You're giving up one of your chances, which makes absolutely no sense, especially since your defense, which is depleted, just allowed them to march down the field and score on you. Mike McCarthy blew this.
Frank, I want to kick the tires on something here, though, okay? You're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You're saying if it was Tom Brady, people would be writing sonnets, or actually I should say novels about how he's done. What are you saying about Aaron Rodgers here?
I think Aaron Rodgers obviously is a terrific player, but he gets put in this class, and he's been to a Super Bowl, which means something. But if he's so talented, how come he hasn't been able to elevate this team even further? And to me, the worst loss of his career happened to take place in that stadium a few years back when Seattle beat them. So remember 2 weeks ago, we're comparing him to Tom Brady? Stop.
Is that holding water for anybody? Tim Kalisha, for you?
Yeah, I mean, that Super Bowl Frank referred to, that was the second season of Jerry World out here. We're in season 10.
9 years ago, yeah.
It's been a long time since the Packers have been in the big game, and that's part of that's got to be on the quarterback.
Woody, yesterday you said the winner of the game would be wild card 2 in the NFC. What did you see from the Seahawks and this rebuild that they're going through right now?
Well, Bill Plaschke talked about it. I'll give him credit about their running game. They've got 4 guys that have had at least 200 yards from scrimmage this year, including Russell Wilson. You put him in there, they basically run him in and out, and they've gone after they struggled early in the year, and I saw them here in Denver. They went to the zone read, and that allows Russell Wilson to do what he does best, get outside or play action pass. And I thought we saw from them last night a team that's now on the rise. And I told you yesterday, they got 2 games against the 49ers. They have a much easier schedule than a lot of other teams. That's why I think they're going to get into the playoffs. Is
everybody with Woody there that this is a playoff team? Blackistone, you?
No. Well, you know what? They've got a running game, and that's not something that a lot of people rely on right now. And the interesting thing is if they can keep a game close in the fourth quarter, they've got a quarterback in Russell Wilson with a 109 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter, which is about as high as you're going to find in the NFL.
Then you couldn't contain yourself with the no that you gave over the Seahawks being a playoff team.
I just think it's too soon still. They're counting on Carolina completely collapsing after the game we saw in Pittsburgh. Carolina's 6-3. The Minnesota-Chicago runner-up, they're going to get in. They're going to get one.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody's mentioned it. It's their defense. You know, they got rid of all these older guys. Everyone's thinking, oh, they're crazy. They're crazy. They held Aaron Rodgers to 3 points in the second half. They sacked him 5 times. You can't get sentimental with these older players. The NFL is not an old man's game. It's a young man's game. They did the right thing.
You say right now that they held Aaron Rodgers. About 3 minutes ago, you said Mike McCarthy held Aaron Rodgers to 3 points in the second half.
Both of them.
Yeah? We'll move on. Let's talk basketball. Rockets 107, Warriors 86. There are the questions over whether any part of you thought the Rockets got right with this win, or whether the Warriors' problems are bigger than you previously thought, or whether maybe even possibly Steve Kerr likes this result early in the season. There's also this is misery vibe we're getting from Durant and Green during the game and then after the game. So, Frank, I'll start with you here. The tumultuous week Golden State have. Are you believing there's something here and that the Warriors may not be the Warriors?
No, in November, I'm not buying that. I do think they're going to get to the finals. I think the team they'll play from the Eastern Conference will be better because I think the East, especially the top 4 or 5 teams, are better. This is just a mini crisis right now. They'll get Steph Curry back. They'll get back to being the Warriors.
Yeah, as long as Steph Curry's in street clothes, they don't have anything to worry about. If he wasn't going to come back, then you'd have something to worry about. Right now, this is just early season drama, as Frank said.
See, how about the vibe you're getting from Durant and Green, even after this game when everything was hashed out and made up maybe?
Now it seems like Draymond Green's trying to put it behind him, and Kevin Durant's really not. And we saw in the game that one possession where Kevin Durant just dribbled, and he had Green open at the top of the key, and Durant finally took a bad shot. So I don't know that they're going to move on that quickly. Obviously, they'll get better when Curry comes back.
Well, I think what we saw last night in Green, that he certainly hasn't gotten over Tim. 5 turnovers, 0 points, a starting lineup that didn't have a 3-pointer for the first time since, 2013? I think that this mini crisis could stretch on for weeks. I mean, Durant looks like a very unhappy person that's already thinking about his future rather than thinking about what's going on right now. And they ran into a buzzsaw in Houston last night.
You say a buzzsaw because Houston hasn't been a buzzsaw. They've been toothless for the last month. Frank, did they get it right last night?
That's not true.
Well, I think they got right because of this. Chris Paul was suspended for 2 games. James Harden was hurt. And Mike D'Antoni figured out his rotation. And unfortunately, that rotation does not include Carmelo Anthony. They're still going to be a top 3 team.
Tim, are you calling Houston a buzzsaw right now?
It was a buzzsaw that shot 34% from 3 points, which is slightly under the league average. That's not the greatest saw I've ever seen.
Frank, 2 words or fewer on Carmelo Anthony, a destination that might be good for him and good for the team that would be getting him.
Well, since his eligibility has run out at Syracuse, how about Miami? They're the team that wanted to sign him during the offseason to start. Instead, he went to Houston to play a role, and Houston got rid of him. It seems kind of unfair, in my opinion.
Was that 2 words or fewer? I don't think so yet.
A lot of words.
San Juan might be the 2 words or fewer we were looking for. We move on.
Puerto Rico.
No.
I got to get your view on this. Roll tape.
There are some black heavy jackets that people who are playing on the field right now for Houston are allowed to wear. Ed Oliver was wearing one of them. You see Major Applewhite come up to him and say, you can't wear that because you're not playing in the game. And then, as they're walking into the locker room at the end of the first half, Ed confronting his coach about not being able to wear the jacket. Major Applewhite confirmed that was what the confrontation was about. And he said simply, if you're not playing in the game, you're not allowed to wear one of those jackets.
After the game, Applewhite stood by his decision. It's really simple. There's a rule for our team. He said they're going to learn and grow from this. Tim, what are you learning here? And is steadfastly invoking that team rule over a coat the way to go for Applewhite?
I would say this. It's really simple. Don't have stupid rules. Don't embarrass the best player on your team, whether he's injured or not, on national TV. Don't make your school part of the national discussion for this. Why can't he wear a coat? Ed Oliver is going to get drafted high in the first round. That's going to bring more players to Major Applewhite's program. Why is he creating any friction with him at all? I don't understand.
You know what's really ridiculous about this? The great investigative newspaper, the Texas Tribune, revealed a few years ago that the athletic side of the University of Houston had robbed the academic side of the university of about $100 million to inflate the athletic program. So with that much money going over there, every player ought to have two coats. They shouldn't be fighting over one. That's ridiculous.
Good stuff, Blackistone. All right, Stola, how about you?
There has to be more to this story. You know, Ed Oliver had missed. This was his fourth game that he missed. Did the coaching staff think that maybe he could have come back and played? Because to me, just looking at it from the outside, it looks kind of mean-spirited. At that point of the game, you're going to walk up to him, tell him, take off the coat. And, of course, the reaction wasn't good. Why not just wait until halftime and say, hey, listen, we got this rule. We would prefer it if you didn't wear that. To do it then just didn't seem right.
Frank, let me help you out. This is an old man's game around the horn, so I'll give you the solution. They've got it totally backward. If you're not playing in the game,
that's
put a coat on.
Wearing the coat.
We're not going to put you in the game.
I
mean, really? Oh, you can only wear a coat when you're in the game? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why in the world don't you wait till halftime? Why are you doing it on national TV? He should be demoted to Lieutenant Applewhite after that.
Thank you. I'm glad you got jokes.
Unless they're running up coats to go
made
around.
the point, though, that there might be something more here. Let me ask you this, Tim. I mean, could there be the Bosa effect here? The idea that maybe Applewhite doesn't think Oliver wants to get back on the field because he's preparing for next year already.
Frank is onto something. Give him a couple points up there. Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. I think we're going to see more of that around the nation as players see their draft status. And who's really blaming them for not playing when they're at this point in their career?
Aldershaw, 23.
Thanks,
but now
Tim.
that Isola's getting points, he's 21. Jumps Blackistone there. Woody Page, you got a shot. You're still in it. Anybody's ballgame and buy or sell next. Stick around.
My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, coming to you from the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17.
Week 11 of the NFL season. It's got to be the best to date. Kevin Blackistone, you got a first-place showdown. Washington and Houston.
Big
Kalisho, you have an elimination game. Dallas and Atlanta. Okay. Also, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Chicago mini. But buy or sell one is the Sunday late afternoon game. Eagles-Saints. Could the season be on the line for the defending champs? They're 4-5. They're at New Orleans. That just sounds dangerous. Woody, never mind must win. Is this a can win for the Eagles, and how?
No way will they win. There's not an opportunity here for a team that's decimated by injuries, that has got a Super Bowl hangover, and you got the New Orleans Saints averaging 37 points a game, and Drew Brees completing 77% against the defensive backfield. It's not any good.
Okay. So not must win, not can win. It's a no win for you. Kalisha, how about Philly's chances?
It's a no win. I mean, Carson went through for 360 yards against Dallas Sunday. That wasn't enough. Now he's playing against the Saints. Drew Brees is going to light up that injured Philadelphia secondary. I just don't see a path.
KB, any chance, any path to victory for Philly?
I don't see a path. The path would be offensively, and their offense has gone from a top 5 offense a year ago to 21 in points right now, and they're going up against the most prolific offense in the league. So I don't see how they keep up.
This is a chance for them to turn their season around. I don't see it happening. If Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott tore apart the Eagles defense last week, what is Drew Brees and all those weapons that he has? This could be a big, big game for New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. We'll move on. Buy or sell to the Detroit Lions. Practicing outdoors in the snow yesterday. Matt Patricia was wearing shorts. I don't know why we play indoors It obviously doesn't matter. That was what Darius Slay said when he was asked about it. Patricia, media availability today read from an 891-word statement defending his tactic despite the opinion of, quote, all the head coaches in the room. It's a question we've already asked no fewer than 3 times this season. Are you with Patricia here? But buy or sell practice outside if the games are inside. Timmy?
That's almost as long as one of Woody's columns. No, I'm not with him. I would be with him if he had done this, if he had stuck to what he said in the middle very quickly, where he said, we practice in pads on Thursdays. It's a lot safer to practice in pads on grass than it is indoors. That's why we did it. Leave it at that and skip all the calling of the media head coaches.
No, I got to sell this because what you're supposed to do during game week is replicate the game environment that you're going to play in. If it's a very noisy place, they put a stereo system out there and blast it as loud as they can. If you're playing outdoors, then yes, you want to practice outdoors, but you're playing indoors. This is why the Lions are the Lions.
Oh, come on. This is football. He's getting this right from the Bill Belichick school of coaching. What is the big deal? The mistake he made was explaining himself. What do you have to explain? We had practice outside today. It's football. What is the big deal?
Paige.
Patricia was described because of his education as a rocket scientist. I'm a rocket surgeon, and I know you don't practice in the snow, and his posture on this position is totally wrong.
His posture. I'll give you points for the posture line. Oh. You know, but I'm with Frank in at least one little small piece here. Just hold a press conference and say, who doesn't love playing in the snow? Playing football in the snow is fun. That's what I would have said. We move on. Buy or sell 3, Notre Dame and Syracuse. Games at Yankee Stadium. Look at the Notre Dame uniform. This is the game every other team in the rankings has circled. It's how things could open up in the top 4 should Notre Dame stumble. KB, can Syracuse pull off the upset? Who you got and why?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I will take Syracuse. Eric Dungy's a fantastic quarterback. They've got a great defensive line that pressures the quarterback as well as anybody in the country. And you know what? They are an upset-minded team. They got Clemson last year. Nobody saw that coming.
So you got Syracuse. You gave us a you-know-what, which I'll dock you 1 point for, and we'll move on. How about you, Frank Isola?
You know what? I'd love to see Notre Dame in the college football playoffs. But Syracuse is tough. They're second in the ACC in sacking the quarterback. And Ian Book, by the way, Notre Dame's offensive line has not given up a sack in the last 3 weeks. But Notre Dame struggled at home against Ball State, Vanderbilt, Pitt. Syracuse is going to win.
So you've got Syracuse as well. Maybe I didn't know this. Maybe I didn't know what was what. Okay, go ahead, Woody Page.
Yeah, I'm smelling an upset also. We got to remember that Syracuse last year beat Clemson, played them close this year. They beat a terrible Florida State team badly. But I think that Notre Dame is in deep trouble going to New York.
That's 3 for Syracuse. And how about you, Tim Kalishaw?
I think Syracuse can compete with them, but you know, Syracuse leads the nation in takeaways, and I think that's a stat that can actually be, I wouldn't say problematic, I would just say something about
Oh, you better not say problematic.
You don't repeat it all the time. You don't repeat it all the time against good teams, and Notre Dame won't turn it over.
3 words or fewer, okay? The pinstripe pants. Styling and slimming or an assault on the senses? Isola?
New York Yankees.
Yeah, okay. Paige?
Babe Ruth-like.
Kalishaw?
Styling and slimming.
Blackstone?
We've all tried it.
Not real original.
Okay. Ooh, this is pretty tight here. I think you're all going to like your points per game averages. Woody Page, weekend starts right now. You look great today. Blackstone as well. Kalishaw and Isola. Showdown. On the other side. Good luck, gentlemen. 5th all-time meeting between the Shaw and Iceman in Showdown. You know who wins the all-time matchup so far? Kalishaw, 17-7. Good luck in Showdown, gentlemen. Monday night. We said this is the best week in the NFL season. Here's the reason why. Chiefs-Rams. Sean McVay, quote, I'd be lying if I said we haven't stolen some stuff from them this year. Tim, fair or foul to do it? Fair or foul to admit it?
Oh, I think it's fair to do it. Everybody does it, and I'm glad he admitted it. Maybe we should hold off on that genius label till he has, say, a 17-7 lead on Andy Reid.
I think that's what it is. He's probably a little uncomfortable with always being called a genius, so he's paying homage to a coach like Andy Reid, a respected veteran. Hey, I stole a line from Woody. Tim and Kevin stole one from me today. It happens all the time. Be flattered.
That Kansas City Chief red looks good on Tim Kalishaw. Give a point there. Showdown 2, an NCAA record tied and an NCAA record set last night. This is Jordan Lyons of Furman 15 three-pointers made, tying the record. 34 three-pointers attempted, setting the NCAA record. Frank, is that a feel-good record?
It should be, and it's one that somebody should try to break because the line is so close. Everyone should be shooting threes until the NCAA either moves that line back to the NBA distance or at least the international distance. It's too close.
It's a feel-good record, but both those records will be broken this year. Every team has decided to become the Houston Rockets and do nothing but launch threes, and that's at the pro and college level. Somebody will make 20 threes this year.
Furman University, you know the initials of that school? You know the chant that they have in the sidelines? We have the same one at Fordham. Yes, you do.
I'm not going there.
Frank Isola, Showdown 3. This will decide the game. The week in Canuck goals allowed. We discussed Kuhnhackl beating Markstrom from his back. Check this one out from last night. Richard Bachman's pass to Mikko Koivu. Problem, Mikko Koivu plays for the Wild. If you're the Canucks coach, come on, people, Travis Green, who are you starting next game, Tim?
Not Richard Bachman, if that is his real name. I mean, that's just an unbelievable pass to put right on Koivu's stick. I didn't think Markstrom's was that bad. You don't expect Kuhnhackl to make that shot.
Bachman is not a smart man because here's the thing. If you're a soccer goalie, never play the ball in front of your net. If you're a hockey goalie, never play the puck in front of your own net. He gave up an empty net goal. Shoot it around the boards. Icing.
Speaking of icing, 30 seconds of FaceTime, Frank Isola.
It's about time. Hey, we lost a giant in the entertainment world with William Goldman, the famous screenwriter, passing away. You knew his work. He wrote the movie Princess Bride, also Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and who can forget All the President's Men. The line, follow the money, you've probably said it, that was Bill Goldman. Bill Goldman was a guy that would always be at Knicks games for a long time. The Knicks have had 15 of the last 18 seasons where they've had losing years. He was at every game. Bill Goldman, great life, great career. Great man.
I'm a sucker for any movie with a newsroom in it. Love All the President's Men. That's going to do it, folks. 71.5-hour break. We'll see you Monday. Oh, I did it again!